You were told to avoid debt like fire. Pay it off fast. Stay safe. But what if I told you? The rich don't fear debt. They master it. While you're drowning in interest, they're using the same system to build empires. Mansions, businesses, tax write-offs, all funded with borrowed money. You were trained to survive. They were trained to multiply. This isn't about credit cards. This is about a playbook you were never handed. And every time you follow the rules, for most people, debt is a nightmare, a weight that grows heavier with time. You borrow for survival. Bills, emergencies, groceries, car repairs. And then you spend years paying it back with interest, more interest than you can count. You were taught that debt is dangerous, irresponsible, shameful. But for the rich, debt is a strategy, a tool, a silent weapon. They don't borrow because they're broke. They borrow because it helps them build more assets, more cash flow, more leverage. While you're cutting up credit cards and dodging late fees, they're buying real estate with other people's money and letting tenants pay the loan back. They're taking loans to invest, not to survive. The system didn't change. The rules didn't change. Only the mindset did. And if you don't understand how they do it, you'll keep fearing the one thing they use to win. It's time to learn what you were never taught and unlearn what's been holding you back. They win. Let's flip the script. Not all debt is created equal. That's the first lie we were never told. Most people grow up believing that all debt is dangerous, that owing money is failure. But the rich, they separate debt into two very clear categories: good debt and bad debt. And once you understand the difference, the entire game changes. Bad debt is what most people carry: credit cards, payday loans, high-interest personal loans. It's money borrowed to buy things that lose value the moment you own them. A new phone, a couch, a vacation. It feels good now, but you pay for it with interest long after. The excitement is gone. That kind of debt pulls you down. It robs your future to pay for your present. But good debt? That's an entirely different beast. Good debt is money borrowed to buy something that makes you money. Rental property, a small business, equipment, even an education, if used wisely. Good debt creates cash flow. It pays itself back. And over time, it builds wealth. That's why the rich aren't afraid to borrow millions. They know every dollar of good debt is a soldier going to war for them, not against them. The system doesn't punish all debt. It punishes ignorance. And once you learn how to use debt the way the wealthy do, it stops being a burden and starts becoming a tool. Wealth isn't just about how much money you make. It's about how much control you have over money, especially money that isn't yours. This isn't about jealousy. It's about awareness. Because until you realize the game is rigged in favor of those who understand it, you'll keep blaming yourself for losing. The rich didn't just get lucky, they got educated in a language most people never learn. And once you see that, you can never unsee it. You were never meant to stay broke. You were just never taught the rules the wealthy play. But now, you've seen behind the curtain. You know how debt, leverage, and mindset separate the trapped from the free. And this is just the beginning. On this channel, we expose the truths they never wanted you to understand, from credit tricks to wealth-building secrets. So if you're ready to take back control, subscribe now. Not for hype, not for motivation, but for the knowledge that actually sets you free. It's not just about how to borrow. It's about why you borrow. Until you learn to shift your mindset from survival to strategy, every loan will feel like a trap, and every opportunity will pass you by. You weren't born afraid of debt. You were trained to fear it. From childhood, you were told to avoid loans, cut up your credit cards, and pay everything off as fast as possible. You were taught that being debt-free means being safe. But no one ever told you why those lessons were drilled into you, or who really benefited from them. The truth is, the system doesn't want you to learn how to use debt. It wants you to work hard, earn just enough, and stay dependent. You see, when you fear debt, you avoid leverage. You never build assets. You stay in the cash-only mindset, and that means you never scale. You remain predictable, contained, safe for them. Meanwhile, behind closed doors, wealthy families teach their kids how to use debt to invest. grow, and protect their wealth. They teach them about tax advantages, interest write-offs, and how to make debt work for them, not against them. It's not that debt is evil. It's that you were only ever shown the worst version of it. The working class is handed credit cards, payday loans, and high-interest traps. But the wealthy, they get access to low-interest business lines, real estate loans, and structured borrowing that multiplies wealth. The same system, two different playbooks. And the saddest part? Most people feel guilty for even wanting to use debt. That guilt was planted in you. It's not your voice, and it's theirs. The moment you stop fearing debt and start understanding it is the moment you stop playing their game and start playing your own. We like to believe the system is fair, that if we just work hard, save right, and avoid mistakes, we'll succeed. But here's the uncomfortable truth. The financial game wasn't built for fairness. It was built for advantage. And that advantage, it's not evenly distributed. The wealthy don't just have more money. They follow different rules. When you apply for a loan, your credit gets checked, your job history gets judged, and your interest rate is stacked high. When a billionaire borrows, they use assets, not income. They get lower rates, longer terms, and better deals because banks see them as less risky. Even if they're borrowing millions more than you, you pay interest. They collect it. You borrow to survive. They borrow to expand. You struggle to qualify for a $10,000 personal loan. They're approved for $5 million with one phone call, and they don't even use their own name. They use corporations, trusts, shell entities, structures that protect their wealth and hide their risk. And here's the twist. They're not breaking the rules. They just learned the version of the rule book you were never given. This isn't about jealousy. It's about awareness. Because until you realize the game is rigged in favor of those who understand it, you'll keep blaming yourself for losing. The rich didn't just get lucky, they got educated in a language most people never learn. And once you see that, you can never unsee it. You were never meant to stay broke. You were just never taught the rules the wealthy play. But now, you've seen behind the curtain. You know how debt, leverage, and mindset separate the trapped from the free. And this is just the beginning. On this channel, we expose the truths they never wanted you to understand, from credit tricks to wealth-building secrets. So if you're ready to take back control, subscribe now. Not for hype, not for motivation, but for the knowledge that actually sets you free.